you know, either younger than us or, you know, passed and retired. So why not? You know, I want to challenge myself. The best always looking to fight the best and challenge themselves, you know, and why not, you know, challenge.
Terence Crawford can't beat him, right? This is a money grab for Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy.
But if you study Floyd closely, like I have, you will notice that he never wastes any steps while he's in the ring.
Crawford reportedly accepts a fight idea from Floyd Mayweather during a live conversation with Stephen A. Smith. Crawford explains that boxing to him means testing limits and taking on challenges no matter how big they seem. He says the best fighters should face one another and makes it clear that he is ready to step up once again. With calm confidence, Crawford shows that facing Mayweather is simply another chance to show his skill and go beyond what people expect.
Man, because this is Terrence the businessman talking, right? They got to pay the cheddar to make it better, right?
For sure, for sure. All money ain't good money, so you got to know that.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to use the word easy, but at times it did feel like you were, you know, having a really easy time out there. Were you expecting it to play out that way?
Listen, it's never easy, you know.
A. Smith has always been known for saying exactly what he thinks in sports, and boxing is no exception. When he praises Terence Crawford for winning world titles in 4 different weight classes, it means much more than a casual comment and highlights an achievement rarely seen today. At a time when many fighters stay in one division because of the risks, Crawford winning across 4 weights places him on a level few can reach. Stephen A. explains that this kind of range and control proves Crawford belongs among the best fighters in the world. It reflects not only his physical adjustments, but also his sharp skill, strong mentality, and non-stop drive to challenge stronger opponents.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab. He used his distance. He had poise in the ring. He wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept his different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part.
Jr., a respected legend who knows what it takes to win across weight classes, praised Crawford for his skill and ring intelligence. He said that in the fight with Canelo Alvarez, Crawford showed he could borrow smart ideas from the styles used by Floyd Mayweather and Erislandy Lara, who both tested Canelo in different ways. Jones believes Crawford stands out because he watches carefully, learns fast, and applies the right plan at the right time. This proves Crawford is not only gifted, but also a serious student of the sport. What impressed Jones most was that Crawford did not copy those methods, but reshaped them to match his own rhythm, so they felt natural during the fight. That ability to adapt separates him from fighters who depend on one approach and struggle when they face top-level competition.
Elite opposition.
As Canelo Alvarez has been a great fighter his whole career, people like Erislandy Lara gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. People like Floyd Mayweather also gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. But Bud is more fierce, more fearsome, and more angrier, and more meaner than both of those guys. So you know if they showed you the blueprint, Bud gonna go out there, take that blueprint, and do even more with it, which is what Bud did. So it was never a question in my mind whether Bud really was going to outbox me, just if he could take the punch. And right away he showed, bam, he could take the punch. So I know from that point, if he just slow him down, which he did, he'd be okay. Then late in the fight, what other people still didn't see, late in the fight, Bud started hitting Canelo's body. One of those body shots, I think about the 7th or 8th round, hurt Canelo. I was like, whoa. Bud hit him in the right spot then, and he got Canelo's respect with that too. So Bud fought a very, very awesome fight, fought a beautiful fight, very tactical.
Very controlled.
Yes, it was a beautiful fight for boxing.
It was a beautiful fight. You know, Bud got hit with some shots.
He did. He did.
He got hit with some single shots going out. You know, he's going out and you know Canelo, if he has you trapped in the corner or along the ropes, it's typically 1 to 2 big shots. You know that if you've watched him.
Yep.
So you could tell Crawford, as he was going out, he knew the one shot was coming, and several times it landed. He even got hit with a 2-piece. I don't remember what round it was, uppercut right hand that Crawford took well. So when you started seeing him absorb the shots, if you're Team Crawford, you don't want him to take that shot. But if you started seeing that, now you know that, okay. And I think that's what gave Crawford the green light to stay there a little bit longer.
He smiled about it.
He smiled about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that smile can be a lie. And sometimes that smile can mean what I think it meant for Crawford, which is, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
Of Crawford stepping into the ring with Floyd Mayweather, even for an exhibition, has sparked heavy debate among fans and experts. Some critics believe that agreeing to this type of fight could damage Crawford's long-term legacy. They feel that instead of adding to major achievements, such as beating Errol Spence and outboxing Canelo Alvarez, he would be choosing money over real competitive greatness. This opinion comes from the belief that Mayweather's recent appearances have focused more on large paydays than meaningful career moments. Analysts say Crawford has put in too much hard work and discipline to risk being seen as someone who values profit more than history. On the other hand, many believe Crawford's place in boxing history is already secure. From that view, a fight with Mayweather would simply be another unique and memorable part of his story.
Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy. This is what was being said, right? This is what people perceived. Terence Crawford was just attempting to cash out.
Compare the careers of Mayweather and Crawford, the conversation quickly becomes complex. Floyd's record includes wins over several all-time great fighters in boxing history. However, many critics focus on the timing of those victories. Canelo was still young and not fully polished when he faced Mayweather and Pacquiao entered their long-awaited 2015 fight while dealing with an injury. On top of that, Floyd's choice to avoid rematches, especially with Pacquiao, left lasting doubts for many fans. By contrast, Crawford has controlled opponents who were widely seen as being in their prime when they fought him. This difference continues to fuel debate over whether Mayweather's perfect record came more from pure ability or from smart timing and careful selection of opponents.
Floyd Mayweather is still greater than Terence Crawford. We need to really talk about this now. A lot of you guys are putting Crawford a bit too high. If you want to say Crawford could beat Floyd, I'm more open to that conversation, but when you're lining up the careers, I'm going to say Floyd every time. While they're both 5 division, Bud has become 3-time undisputed, but he's only fought 10 world champions to Floyd's 25 world champions. You can't take away the 5 division, 3-time undisputed. In terms of accolades, yeah, he probably gets the nod over Floyd. I say the accolades are about relative, considering Floyd Mayweather won Fighter of the Decade as well. But when you get to the resumes, Pacquiao, Oscar, Canelo, Cotto, Mosley, Castillo, Marquez, Zab, Gotti, Hatton, and Corley. There's probably way more people that this guy just didn't name. And then when you get to Bud's resume, not saying it's just bad, but the only names that's really worth mentioning is going to be Spence and Canelo. It's not a knock on Bud. Bud was not able to make those fights early on in his career. But I got to tell you guys what it is. Bud's resume just doesn't line up with Floyd's. Take their top 20 wins. Bud don't even got 20 wins to really sit here and name. Floyd got a good 20-something plus. Bud probably got about 10 wins that we could really sit here and name. Floyd's still greater than Bud in my opinion.
A respected boxing analyst has said that Floyd Mayweather's greatest strength was not just defense or speed, but his mindset. Jeff explains that Floyd's strong belief in his ability to beat anyone made him especially dangerous. Even in fights that looked evenly balanced, Mayweather's confidence in his boxing intelligence often gave him the edge. His talent for reading opponents, making quick adjustments, and staying calm under pressure separated him from fighters who relied only on natural gifts. Jeff adds that this mental toughness combined with sharp technique made Floyd seem almost unbeatable and helps explain why he finished his career without a loss.
Strong mindset, they're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work harder. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of
The world is always searching for big matchups, and one of the most talked about ideas right now is Terence Crawford facing David Benavidez. Benavidez brings size, power, and constant pressure, which makes him a serious challenge for anyone. Fans see this possible fight as the type of test that could push Crawford harder than ever before. Talk continues, even though nothing has been officially confirmed. This discussion reflects what fans really want, which is dangerous legacy-defining fights rather than exhibition bouts centered on money instead of competition. Crawford against Benavidez would match skill with power and precision with force, making it a must-watch fight for many boxing fans.
Not me, but shocked the world. This past Saturday, Mexican Independence Day weekend, what he took on defeated another first ballot Hall of Famer, but he essentially jumped up 3 weight classes, technically 2, from 154 to 168, but only had 1 fight at 154 last August against Israel Majimov. Terence Crawford defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is a 4-division champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, and the reigning, at the time, super middleweight world champion, undisputed world champion. And Terence Crawford beat him handily and convincingly. And because he beat him so easily, now the 63 win, 3 loss, 2 draw, 39 win by way of knockout, biggest threat has been now imposed on Terence Bud Crawford. And that's the Mexican Ecuadorian monster, David Benavidez, who is a 2-division undefeated world champion, is the 2-time WBC super middleweight and reigning WBC light heavyweight, 175-pound champion, who has a record of 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. He stands 6'2" with a 75-inch arm. This is a fight that David Benavidez has been calling for Canelo Alvarez when he was at 168, and Canelo Alvarez strategically maneuvered around him. But Canelo Alvarez is 5'7" with a 70-inch arm reach, started his career at 147 pounds, made his real name at 154 pounds. He's not a big guy, okay? And styles make fights. Benavidez is 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. His last fight at 168 against Demetrius Andrade, he rehydrated to 193. So he's a big guy. Canelo Alvarez probably rehydrate to 182, maybe 185 max, right? He's not a big guy, right?
Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford is a debate with no easy conclusion. Both fighters faced the best opponents of their eras and delivered clear dominant wins. Floyd's perfect record and elite defense defined greatness in his time, while Crawford's ability to move up in weight and stay dominant is equally impressive. The comparison becomes harder because they competed in different eras under very different circumstances, which makes direct judgment difficult. In the end, it may never be possible to clearly say who is greater, but together they represent the highest standard of excellence in boxing.
Oh my goodness. I said that was going to happen. If Crawford was to win, we're going to be seeing a lot of these debates on whether or not Floyd Mayweather or Terence Crawford is going to be better. Now, this is going to be a debate for a long, long time. I'm talking about one of those debates like LeBron versus MJ, Messi versus Ronaldo. It's one of those. And the thing is, I can get behind it. Let me go ahead and say this. When it comes to resume, I do think we give Floyd Mayweather the edge. I mean, he beat a bunch of champions. He reigned for a long time. While Crawford, his resume is heavily criticized, and he's just not getting, his kind of respect for beating Errol Spence and Canelo Alvarez. But if we're talking strictly off of skills, this is where things get really, really tough to talk about. I think a fair assessment of this matchup would be Floyd Mayweather wins from 135 and 140, while Crawford wins from 147 to 154. And I say that because I feel like Floyd's style changed once he got to welterweight. He became a more defensive fighter, and he just wasn't as much focused on offense. And knowing this, I feel like Crawford would have had a much better chance of handling him. And we all know, Crawford was an absolute monster at welterweight. But hey, man, like I said, this is going to be a debate for a very long time. And I can't wait to hear all the talk about it. But I'm curious on your thoughts. Who do you think wins in the fight, Floyd or Terence Crawford? Let's talk about it, and follow me for more boxing talk.
Remarks on Crawford win over Canelo clearly show what the fight meant. By calling Canelo the best in boxing, Hackett emphasizes how dominant and respected he had been for more than 10 years. Crawford's performance not only challenged him, but took control and outperformed him, completely marking a major change in the sport. Hackett says Crawford has now become the fighter others fear the one at the very top. This victory did more than improve his record. It shifted the boxing landscape, making Crawford the man who dethroned the former king and claimed the top spot himself.
You got to remember, Canelo is the guy right now in the sport that's supposed to be the man, big bad wolf. You beat him, you the wolf. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, well, so I'm going to fight. You beat the shark, you beat the wolf. Right. Damn. Like, you know what I mean? Ain't no more ops out there. It's ops out there, but who gonna make them really want to get up? That's the
shit got to make sense. Like you said, you be the shark and then you be the wolf.
Yeah.
But there's the monster.
Yeah, there is, but that's like a real monster.
Bro, that's to me it don't make sense. But that's
really
what
a monster.
Yo, is that proof? All right, we got the legendary Pape in the building. Legend.
Chill, man.
But what makes sense? Like, what makes the most sense? I know you said get a line of suits, Brooks Brothers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? Your line of suits get your money, man. Yeah, go ahead and get the easy money, man. You ain't got to sweat no more.
What's up,
Not saying you ain't got to work, you ain't got to sweat.
What's happening?
He's paved a career where he could sit down at a table and get this money. He could come out with a Terence Crawford series now, just doing whatever he like to do. People gonna watch it. Nobody, the fighting part, people don't understand what it's like to be a fighter. A lot of times fighters really don't be interested in certain fights. It's cause when a guy see himself up here and then is fighting a guy down here, it don't interest him. So therefore, when he train, he not gonna really train. He gonna train, but he not gonna train. He not gonna listen. He gonna feel like his coach taking it too serious, and he's like, man, this ain't even that.
And over Canelo Alvarez was a turning point in his career that removed any lingering doubts. Before this fight, his win against Errol Spence had already silenced many critics who questioned the level of his competition. Against Spence, Crawford showed total control from start to finish. Still, it was his performance versus Canelo, a fighter considered almost unbeatable, that firmly established his place in boxing history. Experts now widely agree that these victories prove Crawford is among the all-time greats. His ability to defeat champions in multiple divisions demonstrates his dominance without question.
I think there was enough action, and I think Crawford displayed his skill enough, even to someone with not the most trained eye, that they know they saw a very high-level athlete perform something at a very high level last night. I think he gained the sports world's attention last night and respect. He already did after Spence, but it went to another level in this fight.
And I think even the fight itself, like just from a median level, But then the moments where they were having these exchanges, like kind of late in the fight, then people were like, all right, it was good. Then like, okay. I saw somebody like, they're squabbing. Like, this is a fight here. So I think it did.
And Crawford closed the show.
Yeah.
In 10, 11, 12, he stood in there and landed some hard shots and rocked Canelo at the bell. He didn't, well, James was talking about the great Floyd Mayweather. Floyd would go up on you 8-0 and then coast, and you might as well turn the fight off at midway through the ninth. Like, you know, he's not going to, but Crawford didn't do that.
And keep following for the latest boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos too. Until next time, take care and stay safe.